everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I am going to pick up where we left off on my last story time about how my car got broken into and all 4 of my tires and rims were stolen in broad daylight in my parking garage that I pay for, that is fob protected, whatever. You need the fob to get in the garage. And I do want to apologize first and foremost to anybody who is following along with my story time and just following along with my journey as an individual. I have just moved from Washington, D.C. to a new state, and so I'm still getting reacclimated and getting my house set up. So that is why I got things over here and trash and so that is the reason for that. But I am doing okay, so thank you again for anyone who has been checking in on me, and anybody who's offering me kind words or offering any type of housewarming gifts, anything of that nature. I really do appreciate it. So to pick up where we last left off on my story, we were in the process of, I didn't have a car at the moment because my car was in the shop. And so ever since then, I have moved out, and I got my car back, I believe, like 4 days, if that, before I officially moved out of that apartment. And so as far as covering my deductible, in previous discussion, the regional director for the community that I was living in had said, okay, we will, we apologize for that, and we're gonna work on getting more safety measures installed for future residents. But as for you, because you won't really be affected by it, of course, what we will do is we will cover between 50 and 70% of your deductible. But my deductible is $500. But basically, yeah, so they said that they would cover between 50 and 75%, and ultimately what they ended up doing is applying a credit to my account for, I believe, $375. So that definitely covered that 75% realm of my deductible, which I was somewhat pleased with. I wish that they would have covered the whole thing and taken full ownership, but you can't really argue too much, especially while moving. Like, I just did not have the time to sit there and demand that full $500. So they did end up comping that, which was very helpful, because in the next, I'll say 20 days, it's been a while now. In the next 20 days or so, I will be getting back my deposit, and my deposit will include also that $375. So that will ultimately be coming back to me as well. And y'all, if you live in the DMV, just slide into my DMs and ask me where I lived. I'm not gonna put it on the World Wide Web, but if you ask me where I live, I'll tell you all about it. But basically, after we moved out, so the day before we moved out, because of the coronavirus, they said that we can do payment plans for rent. And so Zay was like, okay, well, I'm gonna capitalize on this opportunity. And so he ended up just paying rent the day before we moved out. So that was May 24th, May 25th. I think it was May 25th. And so on that day, he gave them a check for his rent amount. And so at that point, we had satisfied our rent for the month of May. And basically from there, we had also decided that we were gonna have the apartment people clean and do the carpets. So that was an additional $225, which they were just going to credit or take from our account. And so I was like, okay, that's perfect, because I'm gonna have that $375 on there, and then they could just take it from there, and my roommates can pay me, and ultimately it'll be the same thing. A week after we left, I got a call from my leasing office, and they're like, oh, we just wanna follow up and make sure that everything has been okay. And I was like, oh, actually, I just checked our account, and I'm not seeing Alize's rent come off of the account. And she's like, oh, let me check my drop boxes. And so they were unable to locate Alize's $500 for his last month of rent. Aside from that, the office manager was like, oh, and also when they cleaned out the apartment, they actually threw away those cable boxes. So those cable boxes actually cost about $220. So before we left, we did have an issue with disconnecting our cable and internet connection because, long story, we just had an issue disconnecting it. And so we let our leasing office know. We had CC'd all of the different people who worked in the office, and we were like, okay, well, you know, we were unable to get these boxes transferred out or dropped off because blah, blah, blah. And so basically her remedy to that was, okay, well, I'm going to credit your cleaning so that basically we're not paying for that amount. And it's kind of a lot. I don't know if y'all are following me. Hopefully you are. But basically, it's so annoying. But yeah, so basically she had to credit us our cleaning amount. And then so we're going to have to pay for that $200, which is the same thing anyways. I don't really care. And eventually a couple days later, she was able to locate Alize's rent amount. So yeah, it's been a lot going on. So yeah, it's been a lot of calls going here, there, everywhere, and then me moving, and then all the protesting, which if you are protesting, I hope that you are safe. I hope that you are courageous and brave and continue to be resilient in that. I unfortunately have not been able to protest because of where I am. I don't know, you know, where the protests are, and even if so, I'm in a completely new area. I'm in a completely new state, and I want to also protect myself and do what's best for me. So instead, what I have been doing is I've been signing protests. I have been working on educating individuals on what is going on, especially ever since it all started. So via Facebook, via Twitter, and a podcast. I'm going to record a video on that and upload it here on how I started my podcast, and basically like everything that I'm collecting from that experience. So I really hope that if any of you are out there on the front lines, you continue to be safe. I pray that you all are wearing your face masks still, and still taking this coronavirus pandemic very seriously. And again, just thank you to anybody who has checked up on me. It has been a wild past couple weeks, and I'm just so glad to be back in the groove, and you all can expect to see a lot of videos coming from me very soon. So if there's anything in particular that you want to see regarding relationships, regarding education, regarding whatever, just comment it down below. I'm your girl. I am here for you, and we're about to get it popping this summer. Like, I'm not in school all summer. That's a story time for another time, but I was supposed to be in school this summer, and now I'm not. So I just have the house to myself and all this free time to really dive into my creative avenues. So I'm so excited to really pick up where I left off and continue getting supported from y'all. So without further ado, just go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, show some love to your girl, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, add me on Facebook. I don't know, I probably won't add you, but anyways, I am so glad to be back, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.